listeners, viewers, welcome to episode 1 of the Feel Fresh podcast and YouTube series. Tom Cartwright here, accompanied with the incredibly talented Nathaniel Hodges. Nat, how you doing?
Well, mate, how are you? Bloody happy to...
Mate, I'm well. Can you believe that we're finally doing the podcast?
You know what? Yes, I can. Yes, I can believe that.
Awesome. Mate, how you feeling doing our first podcast? What's going on for you?
Well, look, I'm traveling at the moment. I'm actually talking in Port Douglas. So I'm a bit flustered, but I'm here, I'm settled in. They've got me in an epic place. So I'm actually in a great environment.
Love it, mate. Awesome to hear. Question for you I wanted to hit out of the gates. I just felt like it was relevant.
Okay, here we go.
Why do you think someone would spend such important time of their own day to tune in and listen to something like this?
Great question. Why would you do that? Amongst many other choices, why would you do that specifically? First of all, we solve a specific problem. Let's start right at the top. We solve a very specific problem that I don't think is spoken about anywhere near enough, with as much detail as we can, with as much presence, lightheartedness, and deep commitment to why we're showing up here. I think for our podcast, Tommy, I think what I'd like to present to everyone is don't listen to the content. Just listen deeply with what Tommy and I have to share from where it's coming from, and it'll be obvious why you'll want to tune in every week. It'll be obvious.
So good. Don't listen, but just listen to what matters.
Just listen.
Yeah, which is just key to why we're here. Mate, I love what you shared there. I think if people are listening, or I think at least in probably even just this country, Australia, in 2022, I think people are starting to realize a little bit more, especially at the back of COVID, that really we're all just seeking a bit more connection than we'd like to say. Like we're all just seeking.
Absolutely.
We all just want a place. Here's how I'm going to say it, Nat. And doing these live, letting people know there's not going to be edits, which is great, which I love. So how you see it is how we do it. We're showing you behind the scenes, but it's now the front of scenes because we're doing
because it's the same thing.
yeah, exactly. That's how, however you see it is how you get it here with Nat 19.
Our behind the scenes is the scenes.
Yes, that is exactly right. There's no behind the scenes. Yeah, I think everyone just craves connection, and more importantly, especially from the conversation you and I had this morning, Nat and I had a really deep convo this morning, and even realizing off the back of that, like I think we all just want an experience that we can look back on and say, yeah, we enjoyed that. Like no matter what it was, whether it was a holiday, a podcast, driving our car somewhere, getting on a flight, just those experiences that we don't look back on. I can be the guinea pig today, but feel guilty or judgmental, like, that was a waste of time. Or as Nat said, he said earlier, like, don't listen to the content. Just listen, and you'll probably know if you want to be here. And I think just taking it easy on ourselves and probably realizing, what are your thoughts, Nat? Like that can be enough of life, just to be like, if someone says, is it a good podcast? Did you learn some stuff? How's it changing your world? Can't it just be enough to be I just liked it.
Yep, exactly. That is enough. That's enough. That's the whole point.
But is that enough compared to the general approach and view of conversations around alcohol reduction?
It is enough because we're getting into the realm of, like, I think the harder you need to justify and the harder you need to push things down people's ears, and I just think it doesn't. It might give someone a bit of energy, but it doesn't resonate at a level where someone goes, yeah, you know what? I'm hanging out for this one. I'm hanging on for the long haul for this one.
Does anyone feel that way when you're being condemned? Which is the way I look at the traditional alcohol reduction industry. We're condemning you to this issue and this diagnosis.
Yeah.
It's like, does anyone enjoy that?
Hey, you've done some horrible things. Now let's get better. It's like,
you've been a bad person, but we can always go on the redemption journey. And
yeah, that's ridiculous.
40 years of good deeds will make up for the 30 years that you fucked with everyone.
But don't have one drink. You can't even have one, or you're a terrible human being.
I love it. Viewers, listeners, if you're still listening, the chances are this is for you. If it's not for you, you probably would have either opted out 5 minutes ago or just then.
Yeah.
So we love bringing a conversation that does matter deeply and matters most. Nat and I absolutely love having conversations that matter most, whilst also taking the piss out of ourselves. One of the biggest problems we've seen with over, going on 15 to 20 years experience in the professional industry of helping people create change for themselves, is that more often than not, the block, the problem, the catalyst for suffering, when you think you found the solution, when you think you've got that thing, when you're like, this is for me, the minute you think this is right, everything else is wrong, is often where it all seems just to fall apart. And that can be actually, I want to share this with you, Nat. That can be a really big problem. And I'm seeing it more and more, Nat. Every time I speak to someone, go easy on the every time, Tom. 99% of the time, we speak in third person from time to time, which is great. 99% of the time when I discuss or I'm talking passionately about drink less, feel fresh, and you should live with choice and freedom, and whether you drink or don't drink, the choice is absolutely yours. The amount of rebuttals that I hear, I don't know if you're getting them too, Nat, which is so often, I could get frustrated. So often, does it work for alcoholics? Does that work for alcoholics?
Yeah.
It's like, why does it have to be a conversation that's reserved for alcoholics? And straight away, people are pigeonholing, like, no, that's not good enough for alcoholics. And that tells me, in my experience, personally, professionally, that, unfortunately, a lot of people that have traditional addictions are being told that there's one way to fix yourself, and anything else is a facade, and anything else is negligent, and anything else is you just avoiding the fact that you're an addict. And I think that is incredibly freaking debilitating to be told that.
Well, what it does straight away is it makes a complex problem seem obvious and simple, and it's just not. It's, category alcoholic, non-alcoholic. Oh, simple. Category A, alcoholic. Go down this method. It's like, what? How can you ever think to get through to people in a meaningful way when you've created a very, very low precision, low resolution idea of alcoholic versus non-alcoholic and one way? It's like, this is a complex, contextual, individualized thing around how people relate to alcohol. Why the hell would you make it so black and white? It's silly. It's absolutely silly.
From what you've just said, would that be the number one reason why people scratch their heads? Why people think they're hopeless or worthless, or they can't figure it out, or they've done 3 rehab stints and they're wondering like, I'm going to get there. It's like, because we are incredibly complex, beautifully complex human beings. And to be told that there's a stepping stone process, if you just listen to it, you should be fine. Like, it's just simple. It's almost like saying, hey, read this book and life will be great. What?
Well, I feel sorry for Tommy. Where it gets me the most is not necessarily the professionals or the people struggling with alcohol. It's the middle zone that we can't even talk about with such low precision approaches. You have this middle zone of people that wouldn't go and say they're an alcoholic, but they definitely know they've got some sticking points with alcohol. It's like they just get left out.
Well, that's why DLFF was born. Like that is literally what you just said there is exactly like Nat. We didn't even know each other when DLFF was originally born, right? That was it. It was, I'm sitting there scratching my head going, a lot of people are asking me for tips on how to reduce their alcohol intake. And they're also saying, but Tom, I don't want to go down the traditional approach.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And even my mind at the time was saying, well, that's kind of all there is.
Yeah.
There's a couple of apps out there, but they're generally derived or birthed from the framework of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12-step program as well. And it was just so fascinating as you're talking. I was like, well, hang on a second. What about, I don't want to use the term middle class, but it's like, those...
The middle section, yeah.
Yeah. I read a really interesting blog from a financial advisor who suggested that the poorest people in the world aren't the worst off when it comes to their relationship with money. It's actually the middle class that go unnoticed. It's the individuals who think they're okay. They play in the game of like, well, at least I live in a first world country and at least I'm not broke. And he said they're actually the most vulnerable when it comes to relationships with finances. And the minute I read that, I thought to myself, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
This is back in 2000 and I think it was 2019 or 18 or 19 at the time. And I said, oh, that's it. That's what I've been trying to look at. What is it that's going on? And from what you said, Nat, that is it. It's the individuals that go, well, I'm not an addict.
Yep.
And traditionally speaking, like a lot of, we know it's kind of the way the world works. The bigger the problem, the bigger the pain, the bigger the solution, the more funding that it gets. But what about those that are just going, oh, I wish I didn't drink last night. Oh, I wouldn't call myself an addict, but I had too many drinks on Friday night. Oh, I don't, I heard this from a beautiful woman the other day. Oh, I don't drink often, but when I drink, I just go hard and fast. There's a whole class of people. Here's how I want to say it now. I'm going to say there's a chance of regretting saying it.
No regrets.
It's almost like if you're not a minority, the support's not there.
Yep. Oh, of course. Yeah.
It's like
because it's very hard. It's very hard to play a victim when you're not in the minority.
There we go. And we live in such a culture of cure over prevention. It's fascinating. And you don't need a cure unless shit's hit the fan. That's what we're finding.
Well, Tommy, there's something that you always come back to, which just rings like bells in my head every single time, which is like, no one bats an eye when you're trying to clean up your diet. No one bats an eye when you're trying to exercise and move a little more. No one bats an eye. Well, they used to, but now no one bats an eye if you're going to do some like relationship work and things like that. And like, it's just the next thing is, why do people bat an eye when you want to drink less? It's a massive thing.
I love seeing your face. It's still like, it's so baffling, isn't it? It does still get to me. Like, what happened? Where has this come from? Like, alcohol is so accepted. This is the thing. So's chocolate. Like, but we don't do it with chocolate. Like try this on Lent. Everyone's like, oh, this is great. Like,
Lent,
Lent, you hear it a lot. I'm going to kick chocolate. It's a common one. It's just a common one for people. I'm going to kick chocolate to the curb for 30 days. It's like, yeah, that's great. Good on you. Dry January or dry July comes along. Oh, why are you doing the dry July thing? Have you got an issue with alcohol? Yeah. No, I don't. I just want to do the dry July. It's just so quick. It is.
Here's a fun one for you, Tommy. I got for whatever reason, and I didn't really know this guy, and we're not here to shame people. This is just an event that happened in my life. So
just hang on a second. We're not here to shame people, but sometimes examples are funny.
Yeah, I don't need to use names. A person added me on Facebook. They're in the same industry, and I, started sharing our stuff, and just every post there was just hate. There was just hate on every one of our posts, even on some of my wedding photos. So it's like, even down to the what we're doing in the industry. There's just people just trying to let's pull it down.
Yeah. Don't take away the thing that helps me deal with my Friday night.
Yep.
Oh.
So it's just crazy how much it sets people off. Isn't that such a great place to start? Starting with the thing that sets people off.
Oh, actually, yes, that is a great place to start. And also, which is really important to know, because this will be where either another bunch of people go, oh, I'm subscribing to this channel, or they go, I got to get out of here. Yeah. Which is, Nat and I still enjoy a beverage from time to time. We've created relationships with alcohol that we feel proud of. That's all. Whether you drink one drink a month or you drink 10 drinks a night, creating a relationship with anything, like, this is the funny thing. As Nat said, it's accepted regarding your health. It's regarding your diet. It's regarding doing gym challenges. It's regarding your finances. You got, like, if you go to a financial advisor, they don't generally start with why you're here, and you say, well, this is what's going on, and they go, oh wow.
Oh wow. Oh, missed the boat.
Yeah. It's just like, cool, you're here to look after your finances. That's great. Let's get going. Let's get moving. And I've never, ever spoken to someone, me myself being a guinea pig in the beginning, I never sat down with anyone when I wanted to go down the traditional approach. I never sat down with anyone who leaned in and was like, oh, you keen to drink less? Oh, that's fantastic. What are you looking to stop? Oh, what's going to happen with your relationships? Oh, cool. Have you thought about the finances? It was just like this immediate, this is the feeling for me. It was like, oh, Tom's a wounded animal. Voice went down, like as if I'm some vulnerable kind of don't know how to deal with life kind of thing. It's even hard to speak about. And That is so often the approach for people. And it's why they're like, well, whatever, I'll just keep drinking. Like, who wants to be treated that way? No one wants to be treated that way. Now, taking a different view on this, because we promised lightheartedness and play. Tell the listeners, how did we meet?
We met on the golf course, which is always a great place to meet. Is that right? Did we meet? Yeah, we did. No, I walked. Okay, so we met the first time we met. We played a golf tournament together, and we'd never met before. And I walk to the practice range, and I see Tom hitting these balls so well, and I go, "Oh, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble." And then what happened, Tom? And then what happened?
If we ever get a space to bring golf into the podcast, it's going to happen. Now, before I tell you about how the golf went, the way that you answered that, when did we first meet? You just reminded me of that perfect feeling I get sometimes with my beautiful wife, Jamie Lee, like, how many years in are we? And it's like, 2011, 12, 9.
Yeah.
I just felt that from you now, like, Tom, I swear we met on the golf course.
We're just souls going together. It's been that, it's felt like lifetimes.
Yes, we did meet on the golf course. And to the listeners and viewers, fortunately, Nat's first impression of me was that I was an incredible golfer.
Just incredible golfer.
I have never hit golf balls. For those of you who don't know golf, you go to the driving range, you get 50 to 100 balls, you warm up, you hit a golf ball and you hit it down the range and you feel good or you feel bad about it. I was feeling great for half an hour. I noticed Nat and these other boys rock up. I've never met this guy, Nat. I'm like, got to put on a show. I either shouldn't train in front, or I'm hitting them pretty good, so I'm getting more balls, waiting for them to come. I can hear them pull up in their golf buggy. I hear Nat pull up, and he's just watching a few balls. I'm like, this is great. And then I just take a step back, go and shake his hand. Hey, Nat, I'm Tom, blah, blah, blah. Walk off to the first tee. And it just went downhill.
Downhill.
So I think I left Nat in a very, using the theme word today, which was complex. Very complex view of who this Tom Cartwright character was.
Oh, Tommy, a bit of an interesting, very dynamic character.
He talks the talk. I don't know if he could walk the walk.
Yep. So essentially we met on a lad's golf trip. That was on for 4 days and we never met before. And it was epic. We just got along like a house on fire.
Isn't that a nice experience, getting along like house on fire with someone? I think probably after the age, from my experience, probably after the age of 18 or 19.
Yeah.
I don't know. What would it be for you?
Mate, honestly, my social life was, I was a late bloomer to the social. I've spent a lot of time when I was younger just pursuing stuff. And I always picked what I was doing over people. I don't know why. I was just always doing something that required time. And I'd always just chose that. And then I was like, I'm feeling pretty isolated in my late 20s. Like, might go try and make friends.
Are we allowed to laugh at that? I fucking love it. We are the opposite. I sacrificed any pursuit or endeavor regarding a task to be liked by people.
Oh, no, we had this conversation.
Mate, for sure. 100%. It was just like, my brain worked in the way of like, are people around you happy? Do people like you? There was no, that frame of it's better to be respected than liked. Like, that didn't hit me until my 20s. I think I heard that at 26 for the first time, and it blew my mind. Like, what? You can pursue goals and tasks to be respected and not worry if that person's happy?
Yeah, crazy. We do crazy things for ourselves.
We have a lot of opposites, which seems to work well.
I reckon, Tommy, best time to introduce ourselves. Pretty late in the game, but here we go. Tommy, what's your introduction?
And then we'll just wrap up after the intro. And hopefully people come back. We hope to see you back here. Viewers, listeners, if you're looking to drink less and feel fresh, if you're looking to change relationships with yourself regarding drinking, smoking, it might not be any of those. You might just like the connection, the relatability, and the insights into human behavior here. Then we look forward to having you back. In saying that, Tommy Cartwright here. 33 years old. Oh, my days. 33 years old. Passionate golf enthusiast who can't play too well, but I love the game. Dad of two beautiful girls, Riley and Evie, and absolutely amazing wife, Jamie Lee. Live up here on the mid-north coast of New South Wales. The short of it is, got stuck in the Australian drinking culture for far too many years. Went into 30,000 debt with the Commonwealth Bank from just spending so much on credit cards, and just got stuck in that. Yeah, hurrah! Just got stuck in that Australian drinking culture for years. And look, at the time it was great. It was fantastic. It was for me, but I hit a pain point of severe anxiety. Ended up being diagnosed with depression. Being diagnosed with depression by someone. Didn't follow down the path of accepting that. And just started to hate relationships and just struggle internally with, who am I? What's my purpose? Should I stay in the party scene even though I feel like everyone else is growing up and getting married and having kids, blah, blah, blah. And that led me down the path of psychology and human behavior. 9 years, I think next year it might be going on 10 years.
There we go.
Yeah. I'm going to contradict what I said a minute ago, Nat, which was I sacrificed any pursuit for friendships, but the first pursuit of a task and a goal-orientated approach was actually the pursuit of learning how to overcome addictive behaviors. So I think it's a pretty good one to start with. I hit the ball late, but I think it's a good one to start. So I just started studying a lot of human behavior, a little bit of psychology, behavioral coaching, hypnotherapy, looking at all these different avenues that you can go down when it comes to just letting go of anything in life that you feel addicted to, anything that you keep doing and you think, I hate that I'm doing it, but I keep doing it. I'd had enough, Nat, of feeling guilty. Like I had hit my guilt threshold. Like I just could not do another thing and feel guilty. Either borrow some money off a friend to gamble, either, ask the bank for another credit card, either just drink, just wake up hungover and feel shit. Like I just hit that threshold. So I think the opposite, which was understand how to live free, understand how to create a life that you don't want to run away from yourself. Even talking to you now, like looking back, really grateful that I started that journey. It was tough, took a while, but in 2015, overcome gambling and drinking addictions, and then really just started to hit the ground running, so to speak, and just creating and backing myself to live with a lot of choice and a lot of freedom. Now I'm here married, very happily married. Love the way life looks, always challenges on the horizon, and just love having conversations that matter whilst simultaneously taking the piss and having fun. I think it's one of the biggest problems with the medical industry is that we get really, really effing serious when it comes to topics that don't have to be.
Yep. Beautiful. And I just get Tommy his coffee. That's what I do. I just hang out. I just make sure, do the dance. Hey.
Nah, come on, give it to us. Who are the listeners and viewers going to be tuning in with over the following weeks?
Right. Team, I am Nathaniel Hodges. I'm the lead facilitator and program design that sit in the background of the Drink Less Feel Fresh program. So everything you see where it's got any kind of structure or workshop or coaching or teaching or anything like that, that's come from my side. And Tommy and I both co-facilitate, but that's essentially my responsibility. So my background is I actually started in academics at QUT. It was my first where my career kind of started, and I was in the exercise physiology department there, teaching there. And then what happened from there is I went and started small clinics in and around Brisbane, based on the knowledge I was learning from university and applying them in the real world. There was a bit of a disconnect at that time between the fitness industry and the academics, and I kind of saw an opportunity to bring pretty high level clinical stuff into the general population. And it, the crazy thing was, Tommy, it bloody worked. And I caught a bit of the strength sports trend that happened about 10 years ago. So if you're in the industry at that time, it was really, really hard to miss. So you had to be an idiot to kind of lose, which I didn't know that was happening. That was just what was happening looking back. That gave me opportunities. People started seeing what I was doing. They were asking me how I was doing things and how I was thinking. So that naturally transitioned into kind of an advisor role of helping other people do the same thing, helping other people think about themselves in business and think about business and themselves. And behind all that, I was always involved in further study. And, so part of my role at university was looking at profile of mood states. I'd look at someone's mood and see how their mood would correlate to things like sprint time, injury, re-injury rates, things like that. So it's always been floating. Human development has always been my game. And then to finish off, I got out of that and with a friend started a small business and personal development agency. And then we were doing things in LA and Brisbane, and we had a kind of big show going on that just burnt me out by the end of it. It was a lot of fun. I learned heaps. And then around 2019, I dialed everything back to me and just kind of kept it small and boutique and really personal, and kind of didn't want to do the whole let's go scale a business thing, which brings me to, I was 3 years into that where I met Tommy, and then the kind of worlds collided, and it was a bloody match made in heaven, wasn't it, mate?
It certainly was. Let's not downplay it. Let's not downplay it. If we're on another universe.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, yeah. And so we've got this dynamic that I love, and I think we'd complement each other really, really well. And people that end up in our space seem to do well. That's, the nuts and bolts of it.
Wait, can you say that again? That was so good.
Well, people that end up in our space seem to do well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Nat, some exciting things have happened for you personally. What's been going on?
Yes. Recently married. Unlike Tommy, I've got 0 children. I'm still a dad, but in a weird way, but I've got 0 kids. I still feel that. Yes, recently married to my beautiful bride and wife, Braden. We reside on the sunny coast. I do a bit of traveling around, just depending on what's going on in the work schedule. But mate, just kicking back, playing golf, surfing, doing heaps of yoga, chilling, and then heaps of work because I love what I do. There's nothing else I'd do. There's nothing else I'd rather do.
And that's being so honest there. I've been kicking him up the bum to get a golf handicap so he can play once a week, but he's trying to find time to fit that into his schedule at the moment.
Yep.
So anybody that's watching, just comment below, Nat, please get a golf link number or get a handicap. Or
Don't even send me the link. Just made it so easy for me. Just go through here.
Or if you don't know much about golf, just say Nat golf more.
Yeah.
Thoughts, feels, Nat? Yeah, I feel like that's an interesting episode 1, and I really look forward to coming back to this episode over time.
I think to kind of look forward, what's this about? Where are we going? This is just going to be, I feel this podcast is going to be an in the trenches view of a play-by-play of what's happening in the minds of people that are reducing their alcohol. I don't see this as being like episode 1, we're talking about this and here's what we've got going on. I think it's going to be an in the trenches dynamic exploration of where we're at as people, where the company's at, and what our clients are doing, thinking, feeling. Kind of like, if you're listening to this, you're going on the journey with us. That's how I feel it's going to go.
Yeah, nailed it, man. I think it's important. Yeah, we probably should have suggested. We'll get better at this, right? Regarding the links and the subscribes. We're getting it. We're getting it. Yeah, we're going to be running these at the moment. We'll be running them every Tuesday morning, and we're going to be running them live for people to show up and have a conversation with us. And we do want, listeners to engage in a certain way. If you're, at the end of the day, if you are about to start a detox journey, if you're thinking about changing your relationship with alcohol and you haven't kind of agreed, or you wouldn't say that you fall into the clinical and traditional approach, then these are the conversations. They're where you want to be. And it isn't offered out there enough. Like, it just isn't. We've done so much research. The DLFF brand's been around for a few years now, and we have yet to find a competitor of individuals who are willing to put it all on the line, which means willing to have, here's how it is. We'll wrap up with this, Nat. In order to learn what you truly need to learn, apparently, regarding living with choice, living with freedom, healing, letting go, and just living a life of passion, apparently you need to get like one of those VIP tickets and get into the meeting and like get into the place and be like, oh, I'm in here now. And then they close behind you and you're like, yes, don't give this to anyone else.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? It's like,
yeah, it makes total sense.
It's like,
It's like
why?
Exclusivity.
Yeah,
Why?
exclusivity. It's like, these conversations are reserved for those people because they're too heavy, the conversations. They're too much for you to deal with. No,
treat
BS.
people is highly intelligent. They love it.
Love that. If you want a community to rock out, then we look forward to seeing your team. Just register above or below, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Beautiful. Thanks, Tommy.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.